We've got barbecue back here. You're all invited. Welcome to the Sloopcast. How are you doing today, Kyle?
Doing all right. How are you doing today, Jared?
No complaints, no complaints, no complaints. Let me actually hit send on that. Now it's looking weird. There, now it looks better. All right. Kyle, this is Collegiate Chaos. This is the National Scope episode for the week that just happened. Where's my barbecue, Jared? Grubhub. For the week that just happened. We didn't have a lot of chaos this week. I used DoorDash, sir. Whatever. I will get on to like 3 or 4 separate ones that there are, and just to see which one's giving me the better deal, because it weirdly varies by restaurant, the prices. The same damn restaurant will be different prices on each place, and it's weird. We don't need to talk about any of that right now. We're talking about the week of college football that just happened, or actually is currently happening for us as we record this. USC and LSU just went into halftime game tied. So we don't know who won that game yet. But Kyle, is Texas back? Yeah. I mean, we told you, if you watched any of our episodes, any of our nationally focused episodes from the past summer, we told you Texas was going to be really good this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And where do you want to start? Where do you want to start here, Jared?
Let's start. Let's do a quick personal recap.
All right.
We don't know the outcome of the LSU USC game yet, but
it is tied at halftime as we're recording this.
So right now, between the guest picker, Kyle, and me, we are all 3-3 on our sloop picks. I have USC. Kyle and the guest pickers have LSU. So I'm either coming in first or last. That's how that's going to go for me. Chaos theory. Miami did not win. And West Virginia did not win. Or rather, Miami didn't lose. Miami didn't lose. Penn State didn't lose. That's how I'm supposed to say that. So no scores. No scores on chaos theory for this week.
Really, there was only one. There was only one.
If we count week 0, there was only one like true chaos scenario.
Yeah.
If we count week 0, Florida State lost to Georgia Tech.
Was 0. Yeah, there was 0. So you couldn't get any points at all this week.
Right, because that was obviously not on the menu when we recorded that episode, because the game had already happened.
Yeah.
So there were no points to gain.
All right. So I guess we're going to go.
Is ND chaos since they were technically the underdog? No, they were ranked higher. But for the sake of chaos theory, for the sake of the game chaos theory, you have to pick a team that is not ranked to beat a team that is ranked. For the sake of that, that is how that game works. That's just how that game works. But SEC, Jared. Yeah. I have a really hot take regarding the tier list. All right, well, let's get into the tier list.
All right.
We have Ohio State, Oregon, Texas, Georgia as our favorites to win it all. Kyle, Georgia poured it on in the second half to defeat Clemson pretty handedly, but Clemson looked pretty good, or at least Georgia-Clemson was very competitive through the first half.
Defensively, I will give Clemson has a good defense. Offense is still, Clemson's offense is still hot garbage. Like that has not been fixed.
Klubnik is super ass bro. I threw the bro on there. If you know, you know.
I'd keep Georgia. Yeah, obviously Georgia stays in S tier. Georgia does not move.
Texas. Texas had one of the few truly impressive performances of the week. Now they didn't play anyone all that. Okay, let me retrace that. One of the true impressive performances by a major team against a cupcake. Georgia obviously beat Clemson, a ranked team. That was truly impressive. Notre Dame beat a ranked team. That's truly impressive.
Texas beat Colorado State 52-0. But I mean, you got to say the same thing to Alabama, doing the same thing to Western Kentucky 63-0.
That's fair. Yeah, that's totally fair. I mean, Ohio State, technically, if you look at like 52-0 versus 52-6, it's only 6 points difference, but the game just looked different. Texas did what we wanted Ohio State to do against Akron. That being said, I'm not, okay, everyone, right hand again. I will not overreact to week 1. Repeat after me. I will not overreact to week 1. All right. I'm not going to punish. I'm not going to downgrade either Ohio State, who just poured it on in the second half. That's totally typical in week 1. Who cares? Now, Oregon, we could have a conversation about. Idaho was in that game late. Oregon is your take. I'm not surprised by that.
You know,
Oregon out, Notre Dame in. I would take.
Yeah, I understand, Jared. Like, I will not. Blah blah blah. Week 1, yada yada. Overreact. Yeah. But we grade this on a week by week basis, though, and so I only have 1 week to look at how these teams are doing and all that too. Oregon should have smashed Idaho to the ground, and they didn't.
Yeah, that's fair.
And they didn't. So I would honestly maybe flip Oregon and maybe Alabama around.
Notre Dame got the big win. I mean, they got outside of Georgia and outside of
Notre Dame. Yep, Notre Dame would be
if we're going to take out
there as well.
If we're going to take out Oregon. And by the way, we don't have to take out Oregon. We're not locked into 4 spots. That's last year's tier list. We don't have to remove Oregon. Just saying that. But there's going to be 3 big winners of the weekend. Georgia, Notre Dame, and whoever ends up winning the USC LSU game, which is that still at halftime? Someone in the chat with a so one of those 2 teams will retroactively move them off of, when we're not recording, we'll retroactively move the winner of that game up into A tier at least. So we have to get out of the mindset. Last year's rules said 4 teams in S tier. This year's rules just means we have to have 12 teams combined between S tier and A tier. We do not have to remove Oregon from S tier to make room for Notre Dame. If we want to move Notre Dame up, I am all for that. Let's do that. As a matter of fact.
All right, fine. Move Notre Dame up, but we are. Yeah, so I'm okay with that there. And I'd be fine moving Oregon down as well, but I'm also fine with Oregon staying in S tier as well.
I don't want to overreact.
We'll see how they do next year. But I would, that was my argument, Austin. Swap Alabama and Oregon for this week here. Alabama looked everything that Alabama should be doing. New coach, no problem. 63-0.
All right.
Statement there.
But I disagree with the moving of Oregon down, but I will. This is a team effort. I personally disagree, but team effort. All
right. Looking at our S tier, Alabama, Ohio State, Texas, Georgia, Notre Dame in no particular order is our S tier. A tier, we moved Oregon down to A tier.
No particular orders within the tiers.
We moved Oregon down to A tier. Again, A tier is playoff teams that we expect to make the playoffs or project to make the playoffs here. So
Kyle, Oregon,
I know Penn State looked really well. I was honestly really surprised on how well Penn State looked against West Virginia. I thought Penn State would have looked almost like Ohio State in that first half where they were going to struggle against West Virginia. There was a long weather delay. I would have thought maybe that might have had something to do, might have
in theory, that benefits West Virginia.
But yeah, no, Penn State, no issues. 34-12. Yeah. A solid A tier for Penn State for me.
I would move Miami into A tier. We have to move Miami into A tier. We don't have a choice.
Yes.
We don't have a choice. We need an ACC representative in there, and it's not Florida State.
Florida State would still stay as a playoff bubble.
Because, and it's not Clemson.
And it's not Clemson.
So, I mean, we literally have to move Miami up. We don't even get a choice there. Also, I need to replace that logo with the, what's it called? The bird. I can't remember what it's called. I like their retro logo better.
It's Sebastian.
Yeah, no. I was thinking Sebastian, what kind of bird is he? Doesn't matter. We move forward. These things don't matter. That's right. The Ibis. On that note, Georgia Tech into B tier. Did Georgia Tech play again this weekend, or did they take this weekend off? I thought they played, right? They won 35-12. I mean, hell yeah. Why not? Against Georgia State. Not impressive, but I mean, they beat Florida State. I think they earned it. The bar's not that high to get into B tier right now.
Okay.
I'm fine with that.
Let's back up. Let's stay with the A tier. Let's look at all of these here. So
let's slow down.
Miami's fine. I'm good moving Miami up to the A tier. Utah.
Like I said, Kyle, we have to.
Yeah, I understand. Utah, I'm trying to find Utah here. I know I thought, 49-0, did what they need to. They stay there. Ole Miss looked really good again against
Bad
Furman.
opponent.
They should have, but 76-0 shutout. Stay where they're at.
Yeah.
I think Missouri did the same thing with Murray State, 51-0. That's fine as well too. Now we do need to find that non-power.
I convince you to move Arizona into A tier. I mean, we are having the conversation at this point, Austin, of who we take out. There has to be exactly 12 teams in S and A. Missouri.
Liberty won 41-24. I can't move them. I can't move them away because I don't know of another team that is deserving to be replace them. Boise State didn't look all that great. They won 56-45 against Georgia Southern. I want to replace Liberty with Boise State. So I think how we have this list here for S and A tier, I think is good after week 1 here.
Maybe we should move Idaho in there. I'm kidding.
No.
I'm kidding.
So again, to recap for those that's not seeing the graph.
I know it's a joke, Austin.
We have Alabama, Ohio State, Texas, Georgia, Notre Dame as S tier, favorites to win it all. And then A tier that are projected also to make the playoffs is Penn State, Miami, Oregon, Utah, Ole Miss, Missouri, and Liberty.
Can we replace Liberty? If we just threw Liberty in there as oh crap, we forgot we had to include a group of 5 in there. How did they do this weekend? We literally just threw them in there because we forgot.
They beat Campbell 41-24.
They give up 24 points to Campbell?
Mm-hmm.
And what did Boise do?
Campbell, they beat Georgia Southern 56-45.
I mean, at least Georgia Southern's a FBS team.
I can't swap them based on week 1 here. So
okay, but we really yes, should.
We have to, Jared. We have to.
No, what I'm saying is that we shouldn't treat that spot like it's Liberty's to be taken. We just gave it to them because when we made this chart, we forgot that we needed an FBS team, and then we just threw Liberty in there. But they didn't beat Michigan. That's the thing, Austin. I'm not going to put a team that lost in there. I'm just saying there has to be a better option. There has to be a better group of 5 option, and I'm willing to take suggestions. There's not. Son of a bitch!
We'll let others think about it. We're going to go ahead and take a quick ad break here. So if you want to avoid these ad breaks, head on over to thisloopcast.com where you can find our Patreon page, patreon.thisloopcast.com, to avoid these ad breaks. So we'll go ahead and take a quick break and be right back.
And we're back. Kyle?
All right, we're going to quickly have to go through the rest of these teams here, Jared. So,
I mean, we only have to talk about the teams that matter there, right? We don't have to talk about every team.
Sure.
So we can talk about B tier.
Down.
Michigan looked bad against Fresno.
Yeah. Bubble team. They do not look like a bubble team after week 1.
They do not. I'm not going to bump them down. Wait, can you put Coastal where Liberty is? They beat the conference favorite Jack State by like 20. Is this Coastal Carolina? Is that who we're talking about? 55-24. Yeah, fuck it. I really don't have a high bar for the 5th auto bid, quite frankly. We'll throw Coastal Carolina in there. It's a placeholder. I'm fine with it. I'm doing it.
So you don't want to move Michigan down after they...
No. Kyle,
I know the final score. I know the final score looks bigger than it was, but it was really close in the 4th quarter. Against Fresno State.
One, Fresno State isn't like terrible. 2, Michigan's about to get waxed against Texas next week anyway, so let's just hold off.
All right, fine.
Let's just hold off. NC State needs to drop down too. NC State, Kyle, not a great showing this week.
It's not, but they're in the ACC and they should be a playoff bubble.
That's a valid point. That's a hyper valid point. They almost lost to an FCS team. Yeah, but they're in the ACC, which is a valid point to be made right now. Mm-hmm. They're very literally on the playoff bubble because they're in the ACC. I mean, Oregon almost lost to an FCS school. We're not bumping them down to C tier.
Yeah.
It's not fair to compare Oregon to NC State. I acknowledged.
Mm-hmm. Right,
no, but we did drop them down. We did.
Yeah. Looking at these here, Nebraska. How did Nebraska do? I know they won. I just forget who they played. Who did they play, Jared? Do you remember?
Nebraska? No one of importance.
Okay. Iowa State is where they're at.
But they looked good, for the record. Like, they did the thing that they were supposed to do.
Actually score touchdowns.
Yes. Raiola looked good.
West Virginia. You want to bump West Virginia down to C? After they did not look really competitive at all at home. I understand it's Penn State, and Penn State's one of the best teams, but they were not competitive at all at home.
I mean, I'm going to say yes, but I will say, much like NC State, where we say, yeah, but it's the ACC and it's still pretty wide open. Yeah, but it's the Big 12 and the Big 12. I think the Big 12, weirdly, is going to be more competitive this year. That's not to say that they're as good up top as the ACC, but they're much, much better in the middle than the ACC. We don't, Austin, because West Virginia lost. Kyle, Austin in the chat is going to have an aneurysm if we don't drop NC State. You are a resident NC State defender.
I didn't watch it this weekend, so I can't tell you. I just see the final scores 38-21 against Western Carolina, which is it doesn't look good. It doesn't look
which
good.
I do believe, Kyle.
Stat point.
And you live in North Carolina.
I do.
Your comment in the Discord this weekend was not a direct quote, but an indirect quote. I've never heard of them.
Yeah, that is true. Yes.
Okay.
I do now know of them and where they're at since then, but
so Kyle, I'm letting you make the decision. Do we drop NC State out of the playoff bubble?
They're on the hot seat. Another bad week and they get dropped down. They're on the hot seat.
Austin called you a homer.
That's fine. Whatever. Kansas stays. I'm just looking at the rest of the teams that we have up there. Oklahoma State looked okay against South Dakota State, which
I'd say they actually looked pretty good against South Dakota State, because South Dakota State, despite being a FCS team, is they're damn good FCS team.
Yep, they're one of the best.
I'm just saying, if I'm Oregon State and Washington State, I'd be calling up those Dakota teams and seeing if they'd be interested in making a jump.
Arizona beat New Mexico 61-39. A 100-point game there.
Yeah, Arizona State's a fun team. I don't know if they're a good team, but Arizona's a fun team.
Yeah, they're going to score a bunch of points. They're fitting into the Big 12 already, scoring a lot, letting up a lot. Oklahoma, similar to like Ohio State versus Akron, beat up Temple 51-3. Very similar. They stay there. Now Clemson, I still think you got to keep Clemson in a playoff bubble just because ACC.
Because ACC. And listen, they didn't look all that bad, especially through the first half.
If you're looking at the defense, sure.
Yeah, I am. Texas A&M lost.
Texas A&M goes down. I say Texas A&M goes down to C.
Okay, I mean, look, I
don't even have to hesitate for that.
Are you being biased?
No,
because
I'm not being biased. No,
they lost to Notre Dame, who's a top 10 team, and they didn't look bad doing it. Like they weren't impressive by any means, but they didn't get blown out.
But here's the problem. Look how many other SEC teams are ahead of them. They're not. They're not going to be. Yeah. They're not a.
This is the opposite of the ACC rule.
Yeah, based on the number of other teams that look better than them right now. Yeah, they go down to the C tier.
You're right.
Yeah, Boise, I guess, can stay there. Liberty is there since you moved Liberty and Coastal Carolina there. And Florida State, like the ACC argument, has to stay in the playoff bubble there.
Now, I will say this. Florida State plays a game Monday night that the listeners will know the result of that we do not know the result of. So we moved them down to B tier because of their loss to Georgia Tech. We don't know the result of the Monday night game. I'm just throwing that out there. If they lose, they'll be the first team in M tier. What an honor. Yeah, 100%. Yep. Florida State is either staying in B or they're moving down to M. 100%. Yep, exactly. 100%. Exactly.
All right. I'm not going to go through all of the teams that's down in in C tier, but any that you want to move up or even down?
Northwestern won.
Yeah, they did.
They beat the Red Hawks 13-6. How's that? No,
Jared. Colorado escaped with a win against North Dakota State.
No. And by the way, Austin, you get the same level of no's you just gave Austin, or you just gave Kyle for suggesting Vandy. Like, have you seen the SEC? Vandy's not getting anywhere near the playoffs. Mine was a joke. I think Kyle's was too.
I mean, if Vandy should be, South Carolina should too with their big win over Old Dominion.
No. Genuine question, Syracuse.
23-19. Just FYI.
They've got a good quarterback. Sure they do.
What about UCLA beating Hawaii though? Scoring 16 unanswered points there to win the game.
And it wasn't me a sloop pick by not being good. They were time lagged, and I was told by Florida State fans on the internet that being time lagged is a huge disadvantage, despite the fact that Georgia Tech had the same time lag. So I'm not really following the logic, but UCLA was time lagged. Huge win for UCLA. I'm kidding. This is all a roundabout way to make fun of Florida State fans.
I don't see really anybody that got embarrassed, like outright embarrassed over the weekend that's in C tier. So,
well, did anyone do anything impressive?
Yeah.
No one's going to M tier after week one. Well, unless it's Florida State, but we don't know the outcome of that game yet.
Nope. A stat here, Jared. I want to let you know because they are your Golden Gophers.
They're not my Golden Gophers.
They are the currently. We don't know how the USC LSU game is, but currently, as we are recording, Jared.
Yeah.
The Golden Gophers are the sole Big Ten team that did not win over the weekend.
Wow. And are the Tar Heels the sole ACC team that did? I'm kidding. I know Miami won. We already talked about it. It's a joke. But man, the ACC, Jesus. Virginia Tech, Clemson, Florida State,
and Stanford.
The almost competent conference. Oh yeah, let's count Stanford as a team that was definitely going to do things in the ACC this year. Good Lord, ACC, what are y'all doing?
Sitting on top of the ACC is Georgia Tech and SMU at 2-0.
And this is why no. Georgia Tech could win. Let's keep an eye on Georgia Tech. I still don't believe in Miami. I know they looked good. I like their quarterback, but I just don't ever believe in Miami. We might be moving Georgia Tech up into A tier soon. That's all I'm saying.
We'll see. Well, speaking of Syracuse, Syracuse does play Georgia Tech next weekend here.
Speaking of Syracuse, we need to take an ad break. You guys go ahead and figure out what that was. It may have been nothing, but we have to do a quick ad break. So with You know what? No, this is the quick ad break. This is the second ad break. It's quick ad break. So thesloopcast.com, patreon.thesloopcast.com, discord.thesloopcast.com. Here's that ad break now. Kyle, if you don't understand the Syracuse transition to the ad break, then I don't know how to help you.
That's fine.
Now, the reason I can't help you is because there was no logic behind it whatsoever. So I literally can't help you. I can't explain whatever the hell that was. That's it. That's the entire thing. All right. Kyle, any other games that stood out to you this weekend? Is Michigan as bad as we think they are?
Yeah, there's a lot of teams that did not look good that we thought should have looked good.
Oregon. Of course, we didn't think Michigan
Oregon
was
didn't look good. Michigan
Kyle, we've been
bad.
calling the downfall of Michigan since February. So let's not.
Michigan State beat Florida Atlantic 16-10.
I joked about Northwestern earlier, but they beat the Miami Redhawks by a grand total of 7 points.
Yeah. But I think we've talked about Wisconsin earlier, a few episodes ago. I think Wisconsin might be a down year this year. And they beat Western Michigan 28-14, but
for anyone playing at home, that's who Ohio State plays next week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think UCLA is going to challenge Northwestern as the worst team in the Big Ten.
No. Listen, I don't like UCLA this year. Let's be very clear. I do not like UCLA this year, but Kyle, Indiana, Northwestern, Purdue, I don't think they're worse than any of those teams.
All right.
No way. No, Northwestern isn't even playing in front. Northwestern's rerunning 2020 right now. A good chunk of their home games will be played in front of nobody.
Yeah, this is true.
Like,
yeah, I'm looking at the other games. I don't really see anything else that stood out as like really interesting.
Are you saying week 2 sucks?
Let's look. Let's look at
you meant
two.
From week 1. Yeah, no, there's mostly teams playing cupcakes. There was like 3 big matchups. That's about it. It was mostly a cupcake weekend.
Let's see. Rutgers plays Akron. That should be fun.
Kyle, we don't have. If you're going to start with Rutgers versus Akron, we don't have time.
Obviously, Michigan and Texas is probably the headliner for the week of week 2. Scrolling down.
Oh, Austin,
Iowa and Iowa State. That's always
Austin gave you
typically that's always an entertaining.
Read the
game.
chat. Read the chat, Kyle. Austin gave you the cheat sheet for next week.
Tennessee, North Carolina State, Boise State, Oregon, Georgia Tech, Syracuse, and Colorado, Nebraska. God, I hope Nebraska just destroys Colorado. Nebraska destroys Colorado. Okay, I want to make sure I said that right. Yes.
Yeah. I'm really looking forward to Texas, Michigan. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. I'm really looking forward to Texas, Michigan. I think Michigan might run with them for a minute, because I do really like Michigan's defense, but only like 12 or 13 players of Michigan's defense. So I think Michigan can keep it close through sheer defensive will for a while, but I believe their offense is going to be so anemic that the defense, which again is not very deep, they have a really good starting crew, but they don't have a lot of depth behind them. So I think Texas will surprise some people by letting Michigan stick around for a while, because I really don't know if people appreciate how good the Michigan starting defense is. but the offense is going to go 3 and out a bunch, kick it right back to Texas, and Michigan's defense is just going to wear out. Austin, I would be shocked if Michigan puts up 10 against Texas. I'd be shocked. I don't see Michigan scoring into double digits. I don't see it. Their offense is horrendous. Texas has a lot of really good talent on defense. I don't see Michigan scoring points. I would venture to say a shutout is possible.
What do you think? What do you think the early Vegas lines are for that game?
Texas 9.5. Minus 9.5, obviously.
It's looking like on average, Texas 3.5.
Bullshit. God damn, I might be breaking my no gambling rule for that. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. That's stupid. That's utterly stupid. Oh, I might have to find some spare cash. That's utterly stupid. Texas is going to win that game by at least 20 points. Yes. Smash indeed. That's right. Absolutely ludicrous. Gosh. That's
I think that's
early scoring prediction. Texas 34, Michigan 6. I know Rule 2 exists, but that's free fucking money, man. Nah. Texas is winning that game by 20 easy.
I understand. I understand that it's in the it's in Michigan, but geez,
I don't care. I really don't care.
48.5 points total.
No way. There's just 48 points total. So they're predicting Michigan's going to score over 20. Ain't no fucking way.
On here, I think this one's more realistic. So it opened. Here's another one here, Jared. It opened up at 3.5. This one says it's now at 7.
Because people were hitting that immediately.
Yeah, I would say early on, I would say
no way Michigan scoring over 20 points in that game. I would be 30, I already 31. Told Austin I thought 13 was crazy, or did he say 10? Either way, I think it's crazy.
Yeah, I'd say 30, 31, 31-6, 31-10, something like that.
I mean, yeah, I don't see him scoring 10 points unless there's some bullshit points at the end, which of course happens. That happens, but no, that's dumb. Everyone don't real life gamble. Don't spend any money based off of anything I said here. Don't gamble anything you're not willing to lose. This is not financial advice. All the other things I'm supposed to say to legally cover my ass, but holy shit, are you kidding me? 3.5 points? This is not financial advice. Legal notice. This is not gambling advice. This is not financial advice. But holy shit. Kyle, listen, Kyle, I need to end this episode because I have to go do something.
Yes, do it. End the episode, Jared.
I need to end this episode. I need to go do something. Let's not talk about what that something is, but I need to go do something real quick. So I need to end this episode. Zach, don't say the quiet part out loud. Kyle, do you have anything in Kyle's corner?
I'll just do one more odds here early on, Jared, and this may stay the same or not. Ohio State favored at 37.5 over Western Michigan.
Okay. That seems plausible. Okay. Swallow the points on that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm surprised they got as close to 50 as they did.
Yeah. Somebody said this. I really don't have anything else in the in Kyle's corner here, so I'm just going to try to find whatever was Kyle, in here. So
I need to to go not bet on that game.
Ransom wins was the Ohio State defensive player of the game, and Will Howard was the offensive player of the game. And I believe I saw Ennis was the special teams.
Yeah. None of those are shocks. Although I feel like I'd have gone Jack Sawyer, but regardless, it's always statistic based. He got the touchdown. He's going to get the thing. It's how that works. All right. Once again, tonight's ending music will be brought to you by a Ohio-based band called the Wet Darlings. So with all that being said, I'd like to encourage everyone to drink local beer, listen to local music, and of course, support your local podcasters. Once again, these are the Wet Darlings.